You just finished a big lunch. 10 minutes ago, you were fine. Now your eyelids feel like they weigh twice as much. The screen in front of you might as well be a lullaby. You didn't get less sleep last night, you just ate. Most people assume digestion is just using up energy, pulling blood away from the brain to help the stomach. That part is true, but it's nowhere near the whole story. The real reason you crash after a meal is stranger, and it's been sitting inside your brain this whole time, waiting for exactly this moment. In your brain, there's a small cluster of cells that do one very specific job. They produce a chemical called orexin, and orexin's entire purpose is keeping you awake and alert. People who lose these cells develop narcolepsy. Without orexin, staying awake becomes almost impossible. In 2006, a neuroscientist named Denis Burdakov, then at Cambridge, found something remarkable about these cells. They aren't just wired to your sleep cycle, they're wired directly to your blood sugar. When glucose levels rise, these orexin neurons physically shut down. Burdakov's team showed this happening in real time at the level of individual ion channels. Your alertness system isn't just tired after a meal. It's being switched off, on purpose, by the same sugar you just ate. So why would your body build a switch like that? In 2016, a biologist named William Jaw ran a very different kind of experiment, using fruit flies. He and his team tracked exactly how much flies slept after eating different foods. Meals high in salt or protein triggered a dramatic spike in sleep afterward, far more than meals that were mostly just sugar or water. This wasn't unique to humans or even to mammals. An animal separated from you by hundreds of millions of years of evolution runs the same basic program: eat a real meal, then power down. That timing isn't an accident. Digesting food takes real resources. Blood flow, energy, focus, all of it gets redirected toward breaking down what you just ate. An animal that kept hunting, foraging, or staying fully alert during that window was competing with its own gut for the same fuel. Slowing down after a big meal wasn't a flaw. It was the safer trade. There's a second layer sitting on top of this. In the 1970s, a researcher named Richard Wortman at MIT discovered that carbohydrate-heavy meals change what's available in your bloodstream in a very specific way. They cause more of an amino acid called tryptophan to reach your brain. Once there, tryptophan gets converted into serotonin and eventually into melatonin, the same hormone that governs your sleep at night. A plate of pasta doesn't just fill your stomach. It quietly hands your brain the raw material for its own nighttime chemistry in the middle of the afternoon. This is also why turkey gets blamed every Thanksgiving, and why that blame is aimed at the wrong suspect. Turkey does contain tryptophan, but so does chicken, beef, and cheese, in roughly the same amounts. What actually floods your brain with it is everything sitting next to the turkey. The potatoes, the stuffing, the bread rolls, the pie. It's the carbohydrate-heavy side dishes clearing the path for tryptophan to reach your brain, not the bird itself. Turkey has just been taking the blame for decades. So by the time you're staring at that screen after lunch, at least 3 separate systems have already made their move. Your glucose has switched off the cells built to keep you sharp. Your body has redirected resources toward digestion instead of alertness. And your own bloodstream has started manufacturing the same chemical that puts you to sleep at night. This machinery evolved for a world of occasional, unpredictable meals, not a world of enormous carb-heavy lunches eaten at exactly the same time every single day, followed immediately by a meeting or a screen. The 3 o'clock slump you blame on laziness is your ancient biology running precisely as designed, just aimed at a schedule it was never built for. So the next time your eyelids get heavy right after a meal, remember what's actually happening underneath. You didn't get less sleep last night. Your own body just switched itself off, on schedule, exactly the way it was designed to.